I come from a tradition where I care about you. I care about the quality of your life. I care about whether you have access to a job with a living wage, decent housing, women having control over their bodies, health care for all, de-escalating the destruction of the planet, the destruction of American democracy. Democracy creates disruption. It creates an eruption. It creates an interruption. Wide from below, the energies of everyday people is manifest. And I know there are precious people in your life who you care for. That's why it's important for you to be involved, important for you to participate. We're not talking about hating anybody. We're talking about loving. We're talking about affirming. We're talking about empowering those who have been pushed to the margins, because neither political party wants to tell the truth about Wall Street, about Ukraine, about the Pentagon, about big tech. Neo-fascists like Brother Trump or milquetoast neoliberals like Brother Biden. Wow, well, I'm so happy to make a world-shaking decision. You know what I mean? Well, I know gangsters when I see them. And gangster's not a subjective expression. It's an objective condition. Do we have what it takes? We shall see. But some of us are going to go down fighting, go down swinging with style and a smile, accenting the best in you and trying to tease out the best in me. Let's do it together.
Cornel West. I have mad respect for Cornel West. He's a scholar, he's an intellectual. But one of the things I must point out, he's a multiculturalist. He calls everybody dear brother. And everybody is not your dear brother, Cornel West. He's very intelligent. So for quite some time, he's been very critical of the Democratic and Republican Party, but he's always been supportive of the Democratic Party. He is now running as an independent, AKA People's Party. So there's some things to be saying about Cornel West as a potential presidential candidate running as an independent, right? We understand that he has sparked hope and enthusiasm among some people. However, while acknowledging Dr. West's intellectual prowess and activism, it is crucially to critically examine the limitation of his candidacy and policies, particularly regarding the historical ongoing struggles that faced by Black Americans. Now let's break down some historical context, because we need to understand the challenges faced by Black Americans today. We must acknowledge the enduring impact of historical injustices, the legacy of slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, and all other sorts of atrocities, and the violence that I love to always state of the Red Summer of 1919 that has left lasting scars on the Black community. While Dr. West's passion for social justice is commendable, it's important to question whether his proposed policies can effectively repair the deep-seated damage inflicted over a century because of the system of white supremacy. Now, running as an independent or under the banner of the People's Party presents significant hurdles for Dr. West, for Dr. Cornel West. The U.S. political system heavily favors the two major parties. We must understand that, making it incredibly challenging and almost damn near impossible for a third party or independent candidates to gain widespread traction and enact substantial policy changes. Because without substantial political backing and a viable coalition and the money to do it, the ability to implement transformative policy become exceedingly difficult. Let me tell you something, family. There's a lot of things that we must understand that Dr. Cornel West running for president can do all sorts of things. It can divide the Democratic vote, thus wiping the legs from under the table in the Democratic Party, or in contradiction and contrast of galvanizing black people behind a black man and then turning over the reins to the white power structure of the Democratic Party. Did we learn anything from Jesse Jackson? Did we learn anything from Jesse Jackson? How he galvanized the black vote, then handed it over to the Democratic Party. I'm running for president. You know what? I'm not running for president anymore, but you know who we should vote for? Time and time and time and time again, we continue to get hoodwinked, bamboozled, tricked, fooled, and manipulated. Time and time again. When are we going to stand for less? When are we going to stand for less? That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that we stand for less when it comes to these things, family, because it's time out for being tricked. It's time out for being tricked. Because Dr. West, he may articulate compelling visions and ideas. The practical implementation of his proposed policies become a crucial consideration. Repairing the historical damage inflicted upon black Americans requires comprehensive plans that address economic disparities, criminal justice reform, educational equity, and access to health care, and first and foremost, reparations in the form of direct cash payments. Now, merely espousing revolutionary ideas without a clear roadmap for implementation risks leaving black Americans without tangible solutions. Please, give me a damn break, Cornel West. I love you, brother. You're an intellectual. You're one of the most intelligent black men I've ever heard. I wish I could even interview you. But let me tell you, fam, you know and I know there's only certain things that may arise from this. And one of those things, yeah, you're going to decrease the power base for the Democratic Party. You're going to put some issues in the spotlight and on the forefront that will bring it to national and international attention, and we may get support from other groups. You may awaken the minds and bodies and spirits of black folk who are still asleep, that Ron DeSantis don't want to be woke. I said stay awake and stay woke. Because that's what I'm talking about, family. That's what we need. Because when we're talking about the success of any presidential candidate, particularly when addressing the needs of black communities, it depends on their ability to build broad and diverse coalitions in order to use the power base that they are galvanizing to move the pendulum. Now, Dr. West has a loyal following among activists and intellectuals. His appeal may not resonate widely enough to mobilize the necessary support. Building alliances across racial and ethnic and social economic, because as I stated before, Dr. Cornel West is a multiculturalist. I don't believe he's black first, he's people first. And somebody, yeah, he's gonna be the president of the United States of America. He gotta be people first. But who is the most aggrieved group in America? Who is the group that has not been repaired by America? Who's the group that everybody else went first except black Americans? We are. Just like the guy said up in Chicago. You know, I don't mind you helping the illegals, Hispanics, and things of that nature, which I'm against, but that's okay. He said, but we first. We've been living here. So if you go and research a lot of things that have been happening out of Chicago, you'll find that video. There's some things to address here. There's some things to address. Because we understand in building those so-called racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic lines, we have to understand that the meaningful change that may or may not come from it, which historically it has not helped being a multicultural person. So a lot of these things remains uncertain. Dr. Cornel West, his candidacy can garner the necessary backing to build such coalitions in politics in order to move legislation that will help and support black Americans in the form of reparations. So, addressing these multifaceted challenges that face black Americans requires an understanding of the practicalities of governance and the limitations of immediate sweeping change. While bold proposal may capture attention, I'm going to give like Marion Williamson, those bold proposals. I'm gonna give you reparations, but $1 trillion was $1 trillion. You owe us 17. You owe us 70 trillion. But sustainable progress often comes through incremental change, so to speak. Coalition building and understanding of the political landscape, which may prove challenging for a candidate running outside the traditional party system, aka our dear brother Cornel West.